In this age of abundant information, it is vitally important that the spiritual seeker understands how to tell the truth from that which is trending. Fads will come and go, but the truth will set you free. So it's important that today we understand how to become really good using spiritual discernment. Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Marcia Martin, the heart healer, and I am so delighted that you're here because the angels really want you to understand how powerful you are and how important it is for you to use that power for your benefit. So, let's get started taking a look first at discernment. What are you doing when you are trying to discern something? Well, according to Webster's dictionary, I always like us to understand the definition so that there is no confusion about what we are trying to accomplish. So, Webster's dictionary says discernment is to have keen perception or judgment, insight, acumen, and looking beneath the surface. As a spiritual seeker, it is so important that you don't take anybody's information at face value. You actually weigh it and engage with it and see whether you believe it is in alignment with what you know to be true about the divine. Everybody, whether they are well meaning or not, is going to give you the information that they believe is going to help you the most. And yet, we all can get it wrong and give out information that really is fanciful and just put moves forward your personal agenda or whatever group that you're associating with. So you, as the responsible being for your own life, need to be the one who is diving under the surface and asking yourself, how does this feel? Does this feel good to me? Am I feeling honored by this information? Am I feeling uplifted, inspired, and motivated? Or is it making me feel like I want to crawl inside and hide because the information is so painful? Information that comes from the divine, that is direct from the source, will have with it unconditional love and acceptance. So, right there, if somebody tells you there's some sort of exclusivity to whatever they're sharing, they are not speaking for the divine. The only time that something that the divine share can be exclusive is if the divine say, in order to get this, whatever it is, this state of joy, you must let go of your negativity and raise your vibration. If there is something that you must do in order to achieve a higher state, then it could be considered exclusive. But everyone is given the opportunity, regardless of who they are, age, gender, race, anything. It doesn't matter. No one can be excluded. You may exclude yourself because you're not willing to do the work, but the divine will never exclude you. You don't have to belong to a specific group unless you want to. You don't have to act a certain way unless you feel it aligns with your highest good. What you have to do, always consistently across the board, is to love yourself and to let go of the limitations that you acquire when you engage in negativity. So, let's get started with some really specific examples of how you're going to acquire spiritual discernment in every situation. As I want you to be able to feel free and confident that you have the ability to make these good decisions and interact positively with information that you may be receiving. So let's remember too that spiritual discernment supports your spiritual ascension and your spiritual growth. So the more discerning you become, the more that you really understand what the voice of the divine can be sounding like. And it's not going to be words, it's everything is energy, what it can be sounding like, feeling like, how it feels to interact with it. The more that you understand that, the greater is going to be your level of ascension, your level of enlightenment, your amount of growth achieved. So, the other hidden benefits are that it's also going to reduce your fear. If you know what is true, and you know that only that is true, then every doomsdayer on the planet is going to no longer have any appeal for you, because you know that God has promised that you are always safe and loved and accepted. That can never change. Now let's get clear. Your physical being can cease to exist. You, as a soul, will go on. You are eternal. You are always safe. The soul is always safe, always loved, and always accepted. While you are in your physical body can receive harm and hurt, but you are still loved and you are still accepted. And let's not say, oh, I never want to hurt or harm. We learn through experience. So rather than run away from those harmful or hurtful experiences, learn to extract knowledge from them. What did I learn? What have I gained? How has this benefited me? What do I know now that I didn't know then, so that I won't be making that same mistake moving forward? So you're going to reduce your fear. And for all of you who are empathic, I tell you, I love the empathic being, but it does come with an element of naivete. And that means, because you will have been taken advantage of over and over throughout the years, you always are going to have in the back of your mind a little bit of fear about being taken advantage of again. When you are spiritually discerning, that fear gets washed away, because you understand you can go to the divine and say, can you help me understand whether this person is good or bad, or this offer is good or bad? And you will be helped. You'll understand you're not alone anymore. You never were, and you never will be. But it's really important that you understand that you, no matter where you are, who you are, what you may be doing, you have access to divine support and divine help. And that never goes away. You are the one that decides whether you're going to say yes to that help. And when you know you have that help, it creates a powerful sense of safety and well-being. It also stops you from chasing false belief systems. And I know in my journey to get here, I went through many different phases of looking to connect to the divine or understanding the divine. And some of those did not always ring to be true, but I followed them anyway, because I was seeking and didn't have yet the tool to be discerning. So, false belief systems can be, I'm being taken over by negative entities or demons, or I'm under attack, or I'm being persecuted. All this idea that you can be taken advantage of. And if you don't do this cleansing ritual or this thing or drink this tea or do this whatever, you're going to be overpowered. Let's be very clear. There are dark energies in the world, and there are light energies in the world. You will engage with whatever you give your attention to. When I was feeling very negative, I gave all of my attention to the dark, to what was wrong, why I wasn't enough, and that space in me multiplied until it was bigger than this little tiny pinprick of light. The way to let go of the negative influence in your life is not to try to beat it up. It's instead to become so light, so bright, so aligned with the divine that that negativity is no longer being fed and it is withering away. I never needed to go head to head with negativity. I needed to raise my vibration, and then I just watched while the negative faded away. I brought in more light. The light of love will do the work. You don't have to. The work that you are asked to do is to ascend, to bring in more joy, more love, more peace, to be available and in alignment with the divine. And that energy will do the work of letting go or releasing you from the lower energy. Don't try to be the divine and do their work for them. Instead, do what you are assigned. Your task is to raise your vibration so that you are available for more divine help, support, and communication. And that communication will tell you if you need to take action, or it will do the work for you because the light is powerful. And the negativity that you are holding on to is weak, and it's constructed with a whole bunch of falsehoods that can't stand in the face and the place of truth. You got to remember that you are the master of your life. You have written the script. You decided before you came here what you were going to interact with, what challenges you would have, and what growth opportunities you would give yourself. You also wrote into your life an opportunity to reconnect with the divine so that you could expand exponentially. So, this is your time to get reconnected with the divine and begin that expansion. Because as you do that, nothing will be able to defraud you again. If something is trying to defraud you while you are aligned and moving toward your ascension, you must stop and ask yourself, what is within me? What trauma, what fear, what negativity, what limitation, what is within me that may have attracted this kind of lower level behavior or this kind of challenge or obstacle? Learn to not say, oh no, I'm under attack, but to say, isn't that interesting? I see that things aren't moving ahead as quickly as I wanted to, or I seem to have taken a detour. Let me do a little heart clearing, heart searching first, and then heart clearing with the help of the angels. Clear away the limitation. Why are you choosing to hold on to that? Clear it once you know, and then replace that energy with Holy Spirit light. Learn to use the energy of the divine for your benefit. It is free for all. And then the more light you are, the more easily you will be able to discern. Now, discernment still means that you are conscious. You are not just asleep and walking through your life. You are consciously consuming information, and you are saying to yourself, how does this feel to me? Is this in alignment with what I know to be true about the divine? And if you know nothing about the divine, know that they are always unconditionally loving, and always unconditionally accepting. So that has to be your marker of all things. So let me give you another example. Let's pretend that in my life, I suddenly have a series of unplanned disasters. Now, notice that choice of words. I claimed they were unplanned, but we know that nothing in our life is truly unplanned because we are creating our next opportunity with the energy that we are holding, focusing on, and interacting with today. So we are understanding that we might say in our ego mind, I've got all these unplanned disasters. But we know in our spiritual mind, so glad, Teresa. She says, music to my ears. We know with our spiritual mind, we have been calling to this to come. Now, why would you call in a disaster? If you are holding a limitation and you have spiritually advanced beyond the limitation, but you're still holding on to it, you may give yourself a wake up call so that you will be forced to say, whoa, look at what I'm holding on to, and you will take appropriate action to clear it. So let me give you an example of that. I decide that I am under demonic attack, and I'm going to contact an exorcist. I have given away all responsibility. I have given away all of my own ability to take care of this. I am contacting an exorcist. Is that a good choice? Well, let's look at that. First of all, you have decided you're under demonic attack. What does that mean? Can your energy be up here if you're under demonic attack? No. It's impossible to be in the high place of love, joy, and peace where you are communing with the divine and be under demonic attack. The energy, the negativity that you are calling demonic, or that I'm calling demonic because I'm using myself as the example, that energy that you are talking about is low energy. It's negative. So what you've really said is, well, I don't feel like doing the work to stay in alignment or looking for what's right or being discerning. I'm just going to go with the flow. And it happens to be really negative right now. And I'm going to give up all my responsibility and call someone else in to do this work for me. You can do that. Or you can say to yourself, whoa, what am I doing in the garbage? I know better. I know that I am able to move myself out of all fear related products by concentrating on what's right, looking at what I have, opening my heart to the divine, and doing the work to be in alignment. Now, I have just protected myself from this outside person that I'm calling an exorcist. I have protected myself from that exorcist coming into my energetic field and possibly sharing energy that I don't want. Please be wise. Choose to be the responsible person that is going to do everything in your power to stay in alignment. And this means you can't just run away from your obligation. What are your obligations? Making sure that you have some daily meditation, prayer, or connection practice in place. Now, meditation does not necessarily mean sit in a chair and close your eyes. You can meditate while walking. You can meditate while doing physical activity. You can meditate while washing the dishes. There are many, many ways where you can just zone out and zone in to the conscious collective and say, I'm here. I'm here, God. Be with me. Come into my heart. Show me the way. Now, also here is where I want to make sure, because we have become so intensely negative around this. Let's understand that not all illness is a choice. Let us not get ragging on those people who are not feeling well and they are doing it as a life challenge as opposed to a life choice because they've been holding on to a lot of negativity. So you will know that the illness could be a byproduct of what you have been engaging with. If you are a perpetual negative thinker, if you fear the worst, if you look at what's wrong, if you live for revenge, if you have a superior attitude, or even a defeatist attitude, those are all negative vibrations, and there are many more, but those are all negative vibrations. And when we immerse ourselves in a negative attitude, we impact negatively on every system in our body. That is not just the physical, it's the mental and emotional and spiritual. So you are bringing everything down with you when you are in this negative space. Let's remember that the law of cause and effect is always active. So if I am trying to cause illness, I can expect, or if I am trying to engage or really spend my day looking at what's wrong, I can expect to receive more wrong. There is no wiggle in that. That is a universal law. So if I am trying to spend my days looking at everything that's right and all of the things that I have to be grateful for and being in deep appreciation for all of the wonderful ways in which the divine are working in my life, I can expect to receive more good things to be excited and delighted, grateful and appreciative of. There's just no way around the cause and the effect. If you want to be ill, then please look at everything that's wrong, complain about everyone, honk your horn the minute somebody isn't doing what you want, get frustrated, angry, and irritated. And then you will probably, if you do it long enough, you will wear down your physical body and get some sort of disease. If you want instead to feel great, look great, really live a life that is meaningful, productive, and contributing in some powerful way, then look at everything that's going right and be grateful for all of the abundance that you see all around you and all of the different ways in which you have a life that is magnificent. So, we have two laws, cause and effect, and give and receive. It's important that we understand that both of these are not going to change just because you forgot or you're having a bad day. So just get used to, hey, if I am looking at everything that's wrong, I'm going to get what's wrong and I don't want to. So I'm going to train myself to look at what's right. And after a short period of time, if you are really dedicated to this, it will become very, very easy. And that's what the angels want to offer you always is a life of ease. So the next law, give and receive. What I give returns to me. Where we get confused is it's not an exact duplicate. If I give love out into the world, love is going to return to me in some form. I always ask that whatever I give returns to me in the way that I need it most, not tit for tat. It's not eye for an eye. Jesus reminds us that we came to go beyond that old way of being. We came to ascend. So give first so that you have room to receive, but be in the space of, oh, I am so honored to give. You are not being put upon to give, you're not being forced to give. You are honored to give because you recognize that that gives you the opportunity to receive something that you need or desire in return. So I don't want you, I'll give it to you, but I don't want to. If you're going to give it that way, the giving wasn't represented by your energy. The fact that you didn't want to, that they had to pry it out of your hands, that's what was received by your energy. Therefore, what you are going to receive back is going to be somebody giving you something they don't want to give, or resentment, or jealousy, or greed, or again, any of these lower energetic products. Give freely, receive freely. Know that you are loved and cared for. And if you will stay in that flow, your life will become easier and easier. The giving creates space, the receiving fills the space. Now, this is often when I get the question about, well, should a spiritual practitioner ask for money? And the answer is yes, or some form of exchange. If you are going to a professional and you are saying to them, please help me heal this issue, or help me with this, or do this, or whatever it is, you must give them something for their time and their expertise. If you go to work, you expect to be paid. If they go to work, they expect to be paid. Think of spiritual practitioners as healers for your soul as opposed to healers for your physical body. And please respect them by paying, and paying happily. Don't be the, I'll give it to you, but or you're going to get in return that same kind of begrudging attitude. And then you open yourself up for more negativity and more ways in which you may be taken advantage of. So, spiritual discernment is going to help us know when someone is leading you toward expansion and ascension. Those would be the spiritual practitioners you want to engage with. Or when someone is just telling you a bunch of crazy stuff, those are the ones that you want to stay away from. Not all of them are bad people. No need to get into judgment. They may just be repeating what they know. But what I want you to know is how to tell the difference and always be safe. How are we going to do that? Back to what I said in the beginning. Understand who the divine are, and then you will never be led astray. So, the divine never waver. You are not going to interact with the divine and get peace and love and joy one day, and then the next day get punishment and anger and rejection. It's just not going to happen. They also see you as perfect. And you have angels who are always near and want to help you. So, first thing you need to know is, when I am engaging with a spiritual practitioner, how is this information or their energy making me feel? Do I feel safe, loved, guided, protected, enlightened, helped to ascend? Am I being helped to ascend? Or do I feel degraded, judged, mocked, made smaller, belittled? You need to be a conscious consumer. Don't put it on autopilot and follow. Consciously consume the information and the material. So, I'm going to give you 6 examples of how you can know something is true. These are going to be really specific things that you can apply. And then we're going to take a look at an example of doing just that. I want you to be a detective. And the first thing you need to know is if someone is speaking for the divine, they are going to sound like every other true speaker. The vocabulary may be different. The choice of presentation will be different, but everyone is going to sound very similar. Even though they may have completely different presentation and teaching styles, the information will sound very similar. Why is that? The divine never change. So if you hear somebody who's saying information that is unlike anyone else, way out in their own place, don't necessarily reject it out of hand, but make sure that you ask yourself, how does this stack up against what I know about the divine? Perhaps they know something none of us have yet channeled through. It's unlikely because we're all getting updates on a regular basis and we are all getting the same information. However, there could be someone that is way ahead of everyone else. Just put that information to the test. Don't swallow it and run away with it. So, first thing you ask yourself, how is this making me feel? I've mentioned this several times. What is this doing to you emotionally? How does it align with what I know to be truth about the divine? If you don't know anything about the divine, go back to what I shared with you before. It must be unconditionally loving and accepting. If it is, this group is good and that group is bad, there's no way that that can be connected with the divine. It might have elements of truth, but it is choosing not to be complete truth. Does it pit one group against the other? Does it propose a superior method, organization, or exclusivity? Everybody is welcome in the heart of the divine. Everyone is connected to the divine through their heart center. No one can be excluded. You can have a particular method that you like and that you show people how to do, but it must be open to everyone who is willing to participate. Also, are you encouraged to seek evidence elsewhere? If you are hearing someone speak or share something with you and they tell you this is very secret, we're the only ones that know, you'll never find evidence of this anywhere else in the world, we are so special, we're the only ones that know. This is just ego talk. And is it repeatable, or does the message change along the way? If it is a message from the divine, it will not change. Perhaps as the channeler grows, the message will become more in depth or more expounded upon, but the fundamental truth will remain the same. There is not going to be, over the years, you should be able to watch their progression and they will probably become more confident, more capable, more eloquent. But those first foundations that they built their platform on should be the same today, tomorrow, and forever if they are in alignment with the divine. You can evolve spiritually, but you can't move the goalpost. If somebody is telling you, hey, guess what? If you give me $100 today, I can assure you that you'll be enlightened by tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and they say, oh, you know what? You're really a harder case than most other people. So if you give me $1,000, you'll have an enlightenment by Friday. And then Friday comes. That is not acceptable. First of all, no one can do the work for you. You must do the work. People can guide you. They can share their knowledge with you. They can help you overcome limitations. But if you are not a willing participant, there is no change. The person helping you may change and grow, but you'll still be where you were. And anyone who says that you don't have to do any work in order to grow is not telling you the truth. So let me go to that example now. Oh, and it's about payment. God cannot love you unless you pay me to take away your sins. This is one that I have seen a lot, and let's look at why that cannot be a truthful statement relating to the divine. First, it's in direct conflict with God. Doesn't follow the rules. God never said, I don't love you as you are. God only says, I offer everyone unconditional love and acceptance, no matter where you are, who you are, what you may be doing, or how many mistakes you have made. Goalpost isn't going to change. It's stuck right there. Now, you are giving to receive. However, you're giving with conditions. It's okay to pay a professional. It's not okay for someone to promise to do it for you. And it's okay to pay for knowledge, but it's not okay for someone to belittle you in order to get you to pay them. They cannot be in a high place and feel that belittling you is acceptable. That's just not going to work. God says all are equal, all are welcome, all are magnificent. If you want to align with someone to guide you, they must hold you in that same space that God holds you. Otherwise, they are just not telling you spiritual truth. What if they say, we in a year, what? Oh, we are in the, aha! Great question, Jeff. I'm going to get to that in just a minute. Love that question. Let me just finish this about pay me to take away your sins. First of all, by calling you a sinner, they're telling you there's something wrong with you and they're making you feel badly about yourself. It is a growth retardant. It is absolutely in opposition to the divine. The divine may say, hey, you got those limitations, and you may decide that you want them for whatever reason they are serving. But we want you to know you can release those and rise. But they will not tell you, you're so bad. If you would just be better, we could like you. That is not the divine. That is ego and somebody who says they are speaking for the divine and is not. Also, the person offering says, I'm superior to you and you're inferior until you pay me, and then I can make you good like me. No, that is paying not for something that you're going to receive. That is paying for a false promise. Not acceptable. And that shows the superiority that we talked about before. Or exclusivity. You're good once you pay, and I make you acceptable. You are always acceptable. You can be confused. You can be depressed. You can be lost. You are still acceptable in the eyes of the divine. Your choices and your path may be leading you in the wrong direction, but you, the person, are acceptable. Oh, and here's the, again, superiority. Only I have this ability. It's secret, hidden knowledge. Your heart will recognize truth. No matter what, your heart will recognize truth. You may not want to accept it because you have a filter in place that says, well, I'm not really good enough for this, or you might make another excuse, but your heart will start seizing up because you have that God connection. The larger your God connection, the more that you've given access to the divine, the easier it becomes. But in the beginning, we're all pretty scrunched up. Even in our scrunched up state, when somebody says to you, only I have this ability, you're going to be like, what the heck? Who made you God? And that is a good question for you to ask. No one did it, and you should not follow that person. Or else they tell you something along the lines of, only I can perform this. No one else has the truth. God gives freely to all who are willing to listen. So there is no one that has divine truth exclusively. Now let's get to Jeff's question because it's a beauty. What about when people tell you we're in a war against it's light versus dark? Let's look at that choice of words, that emotional attachment, and the energetic signature that's coming with that. When I say I'm at war with something, what is my intention? What do I mean? War means I gotta fight against this, really get hard, really start hitting hard and making an impact, because if I don't beat it down, it's gonna get bigger. It sounds really logical, and certainly in this society, in this world, that is an energy that we have applied with gusto. But what do we know energetically? When you get really attached to some energy, some force, when you are focused only on this thing, you are attracting more of it to you. So you may believe that you are beating down this negative thing with your war, and you're the good guys and you're going to show everybody. But the problem never goes away. It doesn't even get smaller. It generally gets bigger. Why? Because we're giving it our precious attention. We have one resource that is fundamental and more powerful than anything, and that is our attention. I'm insisting that this thing, I'm at war with this. Or I can simply do this. I can say, I see you. However, I see you, Mother, Father, God. I see the abundance, the beauty, the joy, the love, the peace. I see all of the wonderful ways in which things are working out. I'm not at war. I'm in appreciation. I am growing with gratitude. I am expanding. I am ascending. I am opening even more to the divine. And what's happening over here to this dark? Well, it not getting any attention. It might roar for a minute, trying to see if it can lure me back into a confrontation so it can get my energy and make itself big again. But if I don't pay any attention to it and the rest of me is lighting on fire, I recognize that I can lead the way forward to a more beautiful place for all by leading with love. So, what do you say to those people? You tell them, I understand that there is darkness in the world. That's why I'm doing my best to share love with all. Please join me in sharing love, because together we can do even more. Oh, yay. Great, Jeff. Jeff, I know your heart, and I know that you are one of the premier love bringers in the world. And you are also very charismatic. So People are going to want to follow your example. Just tell them, I recognize that there are bad things happening in the world. I'm not an idiot. I'm not asleep at the wheel. I'm not just trying to shove it under the rug. I recognize there are bad things happening. I also recognize that the light, the love, the joy is more powerful than any darkness. And if I am willing to get out there and sow seeds of love, I can encourage others and they will encourage others. And soon we will live in a place, in a world, in a joyous expanse where good things happen consistently and the bad thing is an anomaly. And maybe we can even get to the place where bad things stop happening. It's worth it. We are worth it. You are worth it. And we are now at a time in our world evolution where we are being asked to move away from the competitive, which has a lot of negative attached to it, and into the place of cooperation where we lift each other up. Most desperation and crime and hate doesn't come because somebody doesn't like someone. It comes because they feel desperate, they feel alone, they feel cut off, they feel taken advantage of. If we are out there sowing love, they are not going to feel desperate. They're not going to feel taken advantage of. They're going to feel uplifted. They won't feel alone. They will be part of a body that says, hey, you're amazing and I love you. And that is going to naturally decrease the hate and the destruction that we see going on in the world today. You are not going to want to hurt someone who has shown you love. Now, I want you all to be spiritually wise seekers, which means I want you to get supporting evidence. Please don't take my word for it or anyone else. Instead, I want you to know the truth about the divine and to apply it no matter who is talking or where you are. Please don't say, oh, I like this particular person. They've told me the truth in the past, so I don't have to be a detective. I can just turn off my brain and let their words sink into me. Be aware all the time. We are in a time when we must be conscious, when we must be proactive so that we can be flooding the world with love instead of being swept up in the stream of hatred that is just getting far too much attention because it causes a jarring reaction. It causes a jarring energetic reaction, and that gets people riled up. We are all competing for views or for going viral on a video. And people believe that the only way they're going to be able to do that is by creating that kind of energy because it catches your attention. Let's reprogram ourselves to really be attuned to love and be on the lookout for times when love was shown and share that content with everyone that you know and across all your social media outlets. Without spiritual discernment, you're going to give your free will, which is your power, over to another person. You may play small. You might invite fear, and you will inhibit your growth. With your discernment, which is your conscious awareness, you are open to new thought, but you recognize that it must always be provable. If I were to stand up today and say to you all, oh, I just learned something about God. I have learned that there is a special tier in heaven for those of you who watch my stream. There isn't. Let me tell you, if I were to say that, I don't want anyone to believe it at face value. I want all of you to go within to your heart and say, how does that feel? And if it doesn't feel wrong, you need to go back to the beginning and remember God is unconditionally loving and accepting. So there cannot be any exclusivity. Please make sure that it holds to the truth test. Be alerted by how it's making you feel. That dirty filter is going to make it more difficult. So, as soon as you are able, recognize what's causing the problem. What belief are you holding that's clogging up the works there? Clear it away and then fill up with Holy Spirit light. The dirty filter sometimes will give you low self esteem, no self love, poor confidence, or flimsy boundaries where you feel like you need to be a people pleaser. It will make you believe that you're wrong, or it could help you trust the wrong things. So, what you want to do is say, I don't know, something feels a little weird. I need to investigate further before you say yes to a product, to a person, to a service, anything. How do you feel about the information that you are receiving? Do your detective work. And remember, you must spend time daily with the divine. If your day is all go, 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 you have not spent any time receiving. It is okay to give, but recognize that as you give out, you want to fill back up so that you are never running from a place of emptiness. So just get into the habit of giving from your overflow and receiving more so that you are overflowing again. Many, many years ago, Mother God said to me that I misunderstood the difference between selfish and selfless. My definition of selfish at the time was someone that said no to someone who was in need, someone who was not a good giver. And she sat me down and said, you are wrong. It is more selfish to give from the human container, to give and give and give without replenishing until you are empty. Because now what you have done is to create dependencies. You're not creating independence when you're giving from your human self. You're telling people, I'll do it for you. I know better. I can do it. You are creating dependencies. And when you are empty, all of those people that depended on you are now hurt by your behavior. What you want to do is fill up. Say, I am here, Mother, Father, God. I am open to receiving all that you have to give me. Show me my limitations. Help me to release them. Fill me with your wisdom. And as I fill, I will allow myself to be rejuvenated, and I know that you will not stop. So that pitcher is going to fill, fill, fill until it's overflowing. And from that overflow, I will give to everyone who is willing to receive. This way, you are not depleted. The ego is not not doing the giving. Your divine self is doing the giving, and you are creating independent receivers who can progress, not get worse. So, redefine selfishness and understand those of you who are empathic, natural givers. If you are giving without being connected to the divine, you are going to run out and cause a problem. That is the true definition of selfish. Selfless is when you allow yourself to be filled to overflowing, and your overflow is given freely to all who are willing to receive. There's no force feeding. You cannot force anyone to get your information or get on the same page with you. You give and those who are willing to receive will receive. Evan says, better late than ever. So great that you're here, Evan. So we are having fun. All right. So meditation, and also know when you are spiritually wise that you cannot be forced. There is a big misunderstanding that everyone can be brainwashed. So therefore you need to be on the alert in case somebody's doing something bad to you. Again, this is the same problem we have when we are focused or at war with the dark. Be so filled with light that there is no room for the dark to try to make its way in. No one can force you. You have free will. You determine where your attention goes and where it doesn't go. Put your attention on all that is honoring you, and you will overflow and never be in that position where you feel somebody can force you to do something against your will. The worst that can happen is that you might say, gosh, I'm not sure. Let me check on that. But you're never going to agree blindly, because you are going to be so filled with light, you will recognize that, I'm not sure if I want this, so I need more time. You're going to begin honoring you. The other thing I want you to know about that whole idea of brainwashing or the possibility that you could be in a cult is that even in that state, you had to somehow give permission for the brainwashing group to begin on you. Where we get into trouble is it could be subconscious permission. If you are not self-loving, have poor self-esteem, no self-confidence, you may say to yourself, I need someone else to run my life for me. And these people seem to be really confident, so I'll follow them. You have given subconscious permission for these people to now tell you things that are not true, or things that they believe to be true. When you are a conscious consumer, you do the work to be self-loving, to hold yourself in high self-esteem. You give yourself confidence because you begin trusting yourself. And then you decide, do I or do I not want to give permission for these thoughts, this group, this way of doing to be part of my life? That's the thing that I think is most important for all of us to remember, is there is no one can take you over. You must give permission. So when I know when I was first beginning, that did not sit well with me, because I had given permission for so many not good things. And I could not imagine that I would do that to myself. So work up to that belief if you have to, but understand at some point, you're going to have to recognize this is happening to me because I have given permission for it on some level. But recognize too that you can give permission for growth, and growth opportunities are not necessarily 100% pleasant. Oftentimes, we need to go through the dark night of the soul in order to get to the place where we are fully aware, alive, alert, and in united harmony with the divine. So if you're going through a dark patch, just reach out to the rest of us who happen to be in a better place at the moment. Believe me, when we're going through that dark patch, we'll reach out to you and say to you, please help me climb back up to my high place. Lend me a hand. Share some inspiration, some wisdom, some insight, something that I need in order to elevate myself again. Just remember that in order to be your most discerning self, you must clear the limitations. You must know the universal laws, that is cause and effect, and give and receive, and you must know the divine. But the divine are exceedingly simple to know. All they ask from you is to understand that they represent unconditional love and acceptance all of the time for everyone, everywhere. No exceptions. And they will never change. Okay. Yeah, Jeff, another great question. Jeff says, even if you get stabbed in the back after you do someone a favor, here's where it's going to feel painful, but it's going to be liberating at the same time. Believe me, I was the backstabbed queen of existence. I don't know how I still had blood in my body for the amount of things that went wrong after I had overextended myself to do someone a favor. What do we know from that description? We know one, I was not in a high vibration. We knew two, I gave permission to overextend myself. We know three, I was not honoring the universal laws. We know four, I was not holding myself in a high space or seeing myself as worthy. So I allowed my low vibration to say yes, even though I probably was being guided away from it. And then I acted surprised when it didn't turn out the way that I expected. I didn't get a thank you. I got a, oh, that's the best you could do. That didn't feel very good. And it happened repeatedly. So love yourself so much that you know when you should be engaging and when you need to step aside. Hold yourself in the place, the high place of love, joy, and peace, and invite this friend who needs a favor to join you up here. If they are not willing to join you up here, if they are not willing to drop the negativity and the bashing everyone and the complaining and the blah, 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 and take some responsibility, you can't help them. There's nothing you can do because they won't receive. You must give from this place. And when you give, what you're giving is going to go to someone else that's open, but not them because they're down here closed. So if you find that you gave and you got something bad back in return, it is an opportunity to grow. It is an opportunity for you to say, what did I agree to? Where was I holding my energy? Where was my alignment? What was I thinking? What was I doing, agreeing to, agreeing with? It is an opportunity for you to explore. It is not an opportunity for you to believe, well, every time I help somebody, I'm going to get something, a disaster in return. If that's your belief, cause and effect says that's what you will receive. Change your belief. Every time I help someone, I receive amazing gifts in return. Not necessarily from that individual, but I receive something that is a benefit to me. Give good, expect to receive good. Don't narrow it and say, if I give to Mary, Mary better give me this specific thing that I want right now. Be open. Give to Mary freely. Allow yourself to receive freely. Allow God to choose what you receive because they know more than you know what would be best for you right now. I asked God for something, I think about a week ago. I heard from someone who I have not worked with for 20 years as an answer. That person was nowhere on my radar. No way did I think to reach out to that person and investigate something with them. They reached out to me. I am constantly giving that from my overflow, that which I know, that which I can share, just my love. And I am constantly receiving, but not from the source, but not from the place that I gave to. Because God showed me a long time ago, just open to me. Just let me bless you in the way that would best serve you. If you give somebody $1, they don't need to give you back $1. You need to receive what you need. They received what they needed. Allow yourself to do the same. Did that help you, Jeff? Okay, we'll give Jeff a minute to answer. Now, our helper today, and I got to go at 4:15 and start a group, which reminds me always, I forget to share with you, if you are in need of counseling, the Heart Healing Foundation is now offering counseling that is a pay what you can. Now, let me explain what that means. You might not have any money in your bank account to receive counseling. However, you can pay something forward to the foundation. Perhaps you pay your time and you offer the foundation, you help us out on social media, sharing things. Perhaps you have a particular skill. Or after you are doing better and you can pay back the foundation for what they've given to you, we certainly accept dollars. But everyone is welcome. There is no one that is going to be turned away unless you are refusing to receive. If you are willing and you show up, we are going to help you move ahead. Receive, 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 because we want you to ascend. We want your life to feel good. So here are the ways you can, well, it didn't work. Keep saying print. Here are the ways, oh my goodness, sorry guys, that you can, that you can get in touch with me, but it won't paste. Darn it. What in, oh, I'm in the wrong place. Thank you, angels. I keep my angels really busy by doing silly things. Did it go? All right. So, oh, and they're telling me it's too long. All righty. So let me see. You can join our community. Let me see what I can cut off here. There. Now it'll paste. You can join our community, and that's Patreon. It's called My Heart's Desire, and it's named that because the energetic realm want you to receive the desires of your heart. That's the Patreon community. You can join our mailing list and receive a free ebook, or you can just join us on Facebook. Any of those links will give you more information and more insight into the divine. And our helper today is Melchizedek. Now, Melchizedek is very interesting. Melchizedek's name is King of Righteousness. He was the teacher of Abraham and was considered to be the forerunner of Jesus. Now, he was also the king of Salem, and Salem means harmonious peace. He was also the priest of El Elyon, which is Most High God. So Melchizedek is going to help you live in perfect alignment. Understand the way of the divine. Have fair interactions with others. He will intercede on your behalf positively, and he will support you in your growth. There is never a time when you are going to be in a position where there is no help available to you. So make sure that you open your heart and take away all of those limitations so that you can experience the divine in all of their fullness. And that's all for today. Thank you all for being here. And I love these questions and interactions. You always make such really great points, and I appreciate you all. So, sending lots of love.